Hey, I'm Mel Harcourt, a copywriter who's obsessed with hot chips, ginger tea, and using Google search to solve all of my life's problems. Coming from a digital marketing background, I've spent the last 10 years or so whipping up copy for creative and lifestyle brands of all shapes and sizes. On top of that, you've probably come across my writing from Jai's website or any of his emails because I'm also Jai Long Co's in-house copywriter. I've also written all the inspo copy for Lilu's pricing guides and website templates. So pretty much I am living the dream while third wheeling Jai and Lilu's empire building goals. I'm going to be real with you for a sec before we dive into this presentation. Why I will be more than happy to spend the rest of my life writing and pretending to be cool behind a keyboard, #awkward introvert. I am way out of my comfort zone getting in front of the camera, let alone talking to a camera and presenting to thousands of you. But YOLO, right? I know that we're all here to learn and grow together. That's why I'm so excited that you're joining me today and we're diving into how you can level up your copywriting skills together. Even if you think you're the world's worst writer, trust me, you're not. If you've ever written an email to your clients or responded to your mum's text message asking if you're still alive after last weekend's bender, you can write. Maybe you don't love it, but you can write. Like anything in business or in life, as long as you back yourself and show up wholeheartedly, you're already halfway there. And practice makes perfect, like this 100th take of my intro. Anyhow, without further ado, let's jump into it. So today we'll be diving into how you can hook your audience in with emotive and personality-driven copywriting. Because when it comes to our website, our emails, our marketing materials, so many of us get carried away with trying to be professional. But the thing is, as a photographer or a creative, people don't expect you to write like a lawyer or use big fancy words. All you have to do is show up. People want to connect with you. People want to have fun with you. They want to get to know the real you. Whenever you're interacting with your audience, whether it's through writing, a phone call, or a real life catch up, do me a favor and just remember this one thing. Focus on connecting with your audience before trying to convert them. Connect to convert. Here are the 5 subtopics that we'll be covering in the next hour or so. First, we'll talk about why you need to inject emotions and personality into your copy. Second, how to craft copy that feels like a real life interaction. Third, how to write like you naturally talk. Fourth, where to source inspiration so you don't have to ideate and write from scratch. And lastly, 5th, super easy tips on how to write dynamic, engaging copy. So here's why you need to inject emotions and personality into your copy. People aren't buying your products or services. They're buying feelings. They're buying how your products and services make them feel. 95% of our purchase decision making takes place subconsciously, and the biggest subconscious urge of all is emotion. So when you're writing, focus on creating that emotional connection from the get-go. You want to tap into how they're already feeling and then gently coax them into how you want them to feel as well. So over the next few slides, we'll go over some examples together. If you want to elevate their sense of confidence, instead of just saying, I'll be there to capture every angle of your big day, which is true, but you can try saying, from morning prep to booty bopping on the dance floor, we're going to make sure you look and feel fucking amazing on your big day. So in that example there, you've not only helped them picture what it might be like on their wedding day and driving up those emotions of excitement and happiness, you're also elevating their sense of confidence because you've just reassured them that no matter what happens, you're going to make sure that they're going to look and feel amazing on their wedding day. All right, for our next example, if you want to elevate their sense of freedom, instead of writing, I'll help you to plan a stress-free wedding. Try this. Make the rules or break the rules. Just remember this. Your day, your way. Who cares what Aunt Karen thinks? Am I right? So, as we all know, a lot of us, whether you've been married for before or you've worked really closely with your couples to help them plan their wedding, so many people freak out about having to play by the rules or do things a certain way. So in that sentence there, you're elevating their sense of freedom by reminding them that it's absolutely okay to break the rules and not to worry about what Aunt Karen thinks. So you've also weaved in a little bit of humor. So in that whole sentence there, you've not only elevated their sense of freedom, but you've also had a little bit of fun with them by joking about Karens. And for one last example, if you want to elevate their sense of security, instead of saying your wedding album will be handcrafted using high quality archival paper, you can try saying your wedding album will be beautifully handcrafted to last for generations. 10, 20, or 50 years from now, every page turn will revive your best ever memories and radiant bliss. Throughout every interaction, I want you to remember to find a way to help your clients feel seen, heard, and valued. It's all about harnessing the power of their emotions and making them feel how you want them to feel, because you're, as the writer of your copy, you have that power. So emotions and feelings aside, what's so important about personality? Why do you have to incorporate personality into your writing? Personality is what sets you apart from everyone else. People can copy your words, they can copy your photos, but your personality is the one thing they cannot replicate. Remember, connect to convert. We'll dive into the personality side of things a little bit later in this prezzo, but for now, let's carry on. So this brings us to our next subtopic, how you can craft copy that feels like a real life interaction. Besides tapping into your audience's emotions, you also want to engage them with copy that makes them feel like they're a part of a two-way conversation with you, not just you talking at them. Whenever you're writing, imagine as though they're sitting right across from you. How would that conversation naturally unfold? Imagine them getting excited. Imagine them getting confused. Imagine them asking questions. So my first tip here is to audit your copy. Make sure that there's less I, me, my type references and more you references. So for example, instead of saying, I'm a wedding photographer based in Melbourne, Australia, I would love to document your entire wedding day from ceremony to reception. You can try flipping it around to say, living up in Melbourne, Australia, you can count on me to hightail it to your wedding, wherever you may be celebrating. Your love overflowing, your bliss blinding. Let's capture your epic day for an eternity of clock rewinding memories. So in that example there, you can see how both of those sentences essentially convey the same meaning. All it is, if you flipped the other one around to emphasize on your reader, rather than leading the conversation with I do this or I do that. Whenever you start a lot of your sentences with I, me, my, it can quickly come across as though you're just talking about yourself. If they're just skimming your website or a price guide, everything just starts with I, that's where they then can risk getting disengaged or get bored. Remember, your clients are always the hero of the story. You are just providing the product or service that helps them achieve their dream happy ending. So find a way to flip a lot of those sentences around to focus on your reader instead. While it's still absolutely fine to start your sentences with I or to talk about yourself, especially on your about page or your bio, ask yourself, why am I telling them this? What does it mean for them? And connect it back to your audience. So my next tip is to write for one person. What do I mean by one person? I mean getting specific rather than writing to the masses. Imagine your dream client or your target market and write to that one audience. So for example, a really broad statement would be I love coffee. It's a safe statement because everyone loves coffee. So instead of going really generic and people just going, oh yeah, okay, another coffee lover, you can try getting specific by saying, Without my morning ritual, a double shot espresso with oat milk, 2 pumps of caramel syrup, and crushed ice, I'd be a cranky walking zombie. So you might be wondering, why do I need to get that specific with what is my choice of drink in the morning? Now that's just an example, but the more specific you are, the more memorable you are. It sets you apart. Are you going to remember someone that just says they love coffee, or are you going to remember someone that rattles off their exact Starbucks order? You're going to remember the latter because you're like, oh, that. Or maybe you're going to connect with people who go, oh my gosh, I ordered the same thing. So that's why you want to get specific and write for that one person you have in mind. So every time you write something, I want you to imagine as though you're writing to your dream client, or even if you're writing to your best friend. If you haven't already done so, make sure you take the time to explore your ideal client avatar so that every time you write, you can match their personality, speak their language, connect with their interests, and while proactively addressing their pain points. You can even go as specific as giving your dream client a fake name. For example, Sally. This way, whenever you're writing, you're literally writing to and for Sally. It's okay to alienate people who don't fit your ideal client avatar, because if you try to please everyone, you'll end up pleasing no one. Write for that one specific person, write for Sally. So for my next tip on how you can make your writing feel like a two-way conversation, sprinkle in questions throughout your copy. So instead of this little paragraph here, your wedding planning can be stressful at times, but don't worry, I'll be here to support you throughout your entire journey, which, while it's fine, you can elevate it and go with, from debating seating arrangements to sampling a million cake flavors, wedding planning can get chaotic. But guess what? None of that matters. Trust me. Why? As long as you're happy, no one's going to care. Plus, as your ride or die photographer and bestie, I'll be here to support you throughout your entire journey. So in that example there, you can see how I've highlighted the 2 questions, so what and why. This just instantly adds another layer of engagement to your writing, because you're literally making them talk to themselves and ask themselves questions. This may feel a little weird when you're first starting out, but I promise you it will level up your copy so much more. Obviously, you can try only asking rhetorical questions. These are questions they usually ask for emphasis or for dramatic effect. They're not actually questions that require an answer. When you do include rhetorical questions though, make sure you choose questions that usually have the answer yes. So for example, a question that would have a no answer would be, do you want to plan a super stressful wedding? No. A question with an answer yes would be something like, do you want to have an amazing wedding day, the best day of your life ever? Yes. This is how you will prepare and anchor them to answer with a yes whenever it comes to that big conversion question. Whether it's, are you ready to make a booking? Or click the button below to get in touch. You want them to be subconsciously thinking yes already. If you've just flogged them with questions that have the answer no, by the time they get to that conversion opportunity, they'll be thinking no. So always ask questions that end with a yes. So my last little tip here is to say what they're thinking, then reassure them. So for example, instead of saying transforming your digital memories into something tangible, you'll never regret investing in your wedding album. You can try saying, I know, you're probably thinking, why do I need an album? Isn't everything digital now anyway? Yes, you're right, but I promise you, nothing beats the feeling of being able to hold a tangible collection of your fuck yeah, we did it baby memories in your hands. While you can't possibly predict every pain point that your client might be facing, you can still address the most common concerns that they often bring up with you. That's why I said earlier on, whenever you write anything, make sure you're always asking yourself, why am I telling them this? what does it mean for them, and reconnect it back to your audience in a way that's meaningful for them. For example, every photographer out there is going to tell you that their wedding album's the best, it's the best investment their clients can ever make. But if your client is wondering why it's even worth the investment, that means they're waiting for you to convince them that it is worth the investment. So you simply stating the fact that it's worth their money is not enough to convince them. By reaffirming what they're already thinking and then providing reassurance, it shows that you understand where they're at, and it also gives you an opportunity to express why you're so confident that they should invest in a wedding album. This is super important because as a wedding photographer or a vendor, you always want to make your clients feel like you're in that for the long haul, that you're there to build a relationship with them. You want to make them feel seen, heard, felt, and valued throughout their journey with you. It's so much more than just a transaction. So wherever you can in your copy, make sure you reassure them to earn their trust. Now that we've covered how you can write copy that feels like a real life two-way conversation, let's chat about the importance of writing how you naturally talk and why it's okay to break the rules. Just because you're running a business doesn't mean that you have to be professional all the time or be a sharp shooting, straight-laced business person. You can still have fun. The more fun you show your clients that you're having, the more you're giving them permission to have fun with you. This means that when it comes to writing your website copy or your social captions or your blogs, you can treat it as though you're writing for a friend. You don't always have to use formal language. If you've read a lot of my writing in the past, you'll see I use lots of slang, lots of acronyms. I don't always follow the rules, and that's what makes it a heap more relatable and also laid back. The only thing that sets you apart from everyone else is your personality. Use your personality as your superpower. So how do you write as you naturally talk? It's about using words and phrases that you already naturally use in your everyday life, whether you're chatting to your partner, with a friend, or with a client. What are some of the phrases or acronyms or slangs or go-to buzzwords that you always throw into those conversations? If you're not sure what those words or phrases look like, go through your DMs, your emails, your messages, and see what words do I constantly say. You can also ask your partner, your bestie. They're going to know you much better than you know yourself. So don't be afraid to ask your close mates or your family for those go-to words that you always use. This is super important because you want to make sure that the way you present yourself online versus the person you are offline always connects. If there's some sort of disconnect, it can cause confusion, it can cause people to lose trust in you because they're like, who am I dealing with? Am I dealing with Sally or am I dealing with Sarah? They want to know who they're dealing with. For example, do you swear a lot in real life? If you swear heaps and your clients are totally fine with you swearing, then feel free to weave those swear words throughout your copy. Don't pretend that you have to be professional and keep your copy super clean and polite if the minute you get on the phone with them, you're going to start swearing your head off. It's not going to make sense. On the other hand, if your favorite all-time TV shows are something like Seinfeld or Brooklyn Nine-Nine, again, feel free to drop little references to those shows throughout the copy. Those little inside references like cool. People that love the show as much as you, they'll pick up on that and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I love Seinfeld too, or I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine too. The ones who don't pick up on that will just simply gloss over it. So no harm's done either way. Have fun with your copy. I can't emphasize it enough. Make sure there's no disconnect between your online personality and your real life personality. The quicker you can bridge that gap, the more your clients will trust in you. So now that we've covered some of my biggest tips on how you can level up your copy with emotions and personality, writing like your real life self, making it a two-way engaging conversation, let's jump into the next topic, which is how you can source inspiration so you don't have to write and ideate from scratch. You're a photographer, not a writer. I get it. Like, I can't take a photo for the life of me. I take a photo like a 90-year-old grandma. So that's why if you're struggling to write or you're always mind blank on it, this is why I'm going to talk you through some little tips on how you can source inspiration from everywhere around you. My number one biggest tip for sourcing inspiration is listening. Listening to what your clients are saying, listening to what people who inquire with you are saying. When you listen, that's when you'll get the most inspiration. One of the biggest compliments I often get from my clients when I write for them is, Mel, oh my God, I don't know how you did it, but your copy made me feel all the things. It sounded so much like me. It made me laugh, it made me cry, it made me feel everything. But the funny thing is, I've not met like maybe 99% of my clients in real life. So how do I do this? How do I write copy that sounds like them? By listening. So during our phone call or over our email chain, I will ask them loads of random questions just to get them talking. Most of the time, it's not about what they're saying, it's how they're saying it. It's what do they get excited about? How do they naturally describe certain things? What are some words they use repetitively? For example, amazing, legends, awesome, sick, epic. Those are the words I will scribble down in my notebook and make sure that I reference it throughout their copy, because that is how they naturally talk. So the more you listen to your clients or what your audience is already saying, the more you'll be able to speak their language. Let your clients write it for you. Tune into what they really want and need. Listen and repeat the words they're saying in the inquiries, emails and DMs, meeting conversations, questionnaires, reviews and testimonials, or on their social media posts. Inspiration lives everywhere, and I know I keep repeating myself, but one of my biggest tips ever is stop looking at other photographers' websites for inspiration. I know it's really tempting to look at your competitor or look at someone you really admire for inspiration, but the thing is, you're looking within a really tight circle, and that's when it runs the risk of everything starting to sound same. So start looking outside of your industry, whether it's your favorite bar, a hotel, a restaurant, your favorite band, billboards, advertising, radio, anything. There's literally copy inspiration wherever you go. So what does this mean? It means that maybe I'm chilling on the couch with my pugs watching Netflix, or I'm driving somewhere and I spot a billboard that has brilliant advertising, or I pick up something on the radio or in a song lyric that I feel like I can repurpose into my own writing or use as inspiration. That's when I'll quickly whip out my notes and write it down, so that the next time when I have to write something on a similar topic or where I think I can repurpose it, I have inspiration on tap. I don't need to ideate from scratch. This is especially helpful when you're coming up with short little headings, taglines, catchy slogans. It's so helpful to have notes while you're on the go. Lastly, how do you source inspiration when it comes to talking about you? So many people hate talking about themselves, and it's absolutely normal. It can feel super cringy. Trust me, I was dying inside when I had to write my own intro for my little prezzo, but I made do. So my biggest tip for when you're writing about yourself or your services is to write down a list of questions you want to address, give it to your friend or your partner, and get them to do an interview with you and record that entire interview. Because you are just hanging out with your partner or mate while they ask you casual questions, you're naturally going to be a lot more laid back and relaxed, and the ideas will come to you, and you'll start rambling about stuff that you get excited about, or you'll go on a million segues. That doesn't matter. This way, when you're ready to write about yourself or your business, you have an interview that you can play back and use as reference for how you naturally talk and what you get excited about. You'll be so much more relaxed having your friend or partner interview you, and it also allows you to go on different tangents, get excited about different segues. So that interview is going to become invaluable for you whenever you get stuck writing about yourself. Yay, we're on our final home stretch now, which is our last topic, my super easy tips on how you can write dynamic and engaging copy. Now, this is a super important one because, like ourselves, most people are busy. They don't have a lot of time. So the more you keep your copy engaging and exciting, the more they'll stay on your website or read your guide. The quicker they get bored, the quicker they'll leave. When most people are busy, it means that they'll likely be skimming your copy, trying to find quick answers to the questions they have or finding the information they're looking for. If they can't find it quickly, they're going to get bored and go elsewhere. So how do you keep them engaged? You can do this by changing up the rhythm of your copy. Changing up the rhythm is an easy way to keep people tuned in and hooked. It creates something a little bit unexpected. If everything just reads monotonously or repetitively, it can get boring really quickly, and obviously we don't want that. So here are a few things to help you change up the rhythm of your copy. You can break up long sentences and chunky paragraphs to keep it digestible. So in this little slide, you can see a recording of me editing a chunky paragraph and making it easier to read by cutting everything up. Don't make it hard for your readers to understand what you're trying to convey. If it looks chunky, break it up. Read everything you've written out loud. If you're stumbling over words, getting lost, getting bored yourself, that means that it's getting a little bit too long and monotonous, so it's time to change up the rhythm. You can break up your copy by shortening sentences, breaking up long paragraphs, adding headings and subheadings for emphasis, adding bullet points for easy skimming. You can also capitalize, italicize, underline, or make specific words or phrases bold for extra emphasis. You can also change up the rhythm by using synonyms for words that you find yourself using repetitively. So synonyms are words that mean or convey almost or exactly the same meaning as another word. For example, instead of using the word timeless, synonyms could be eternal, forevermore, everlasting, age-defying, undying, clock rewinding, immortalized, time-stopping. So if you're trying to find a word to replace something else, you can literally go, for example, amazing, synonym, and Google will give you a whole list of relevant synonyms, and you can just sift through the list and find what you think is most appropriate. Lastly, to change up the rhythm, you can also weave in sensory words throughout your copy. So what are sensory words? Sensory words are words that evoke the reader's sense of touch, taste, sound, smell, and sight. These words will help you to be more descriptive with your copy and help your client picture themselves in whatever you're trying to describe. So on this slide, I'll have an example for you on how you can weave in sensory words. So in this little paragraph, I've highlighted in different colors the examples of sensory words I've used. So basking in the warm golden rays, your heart's exploding with excitement as you start down the aisle. Beaming at you from afar, you pinch yourself. This is the moment, the beginning of your forever. So yes, while it seems overly dramatic and over the top, this is how you're going to help your clients picture their day and get excited about it. You're helping them visualize the entire setting, how they're feeling, what they're seeing. And this is super helpful in helping you keep your copy engaging. Again, in situations like this, Google's always going to be your best friend. So you can Google stuff like sensory word list, examples of sensory words, and you'll have pages full of these terms. Bookmark those pages and use as inspiration for when you write next time. Alrighty, so it looks like we have a little extra time up our sleeves, so let's jump into some bonus tips. When you're writing your website content, remember that this is when the sales process starts. Don't be overly tentative, humble, or shy. You're not asking for the sale. Write as though you know they're going to book you. So rather than writing stuff like, if you think I'm the right photographer for your day, then get in touch. Instead of that, you want to come across a lot more confident and assuming that they're already sold on you. So you want to write something like, ready to create the most picture perfect day ever? Hit the button below and let's get started. Don't give them the chance of thinking or saying no. The more confident you are in yourself, the more confident they'll be in you. And finally, once you're done writing, read everything out loud. Besides using spell check, when you read your copy out loud, it forces your brain to slow down. It almost tricks you into reflecting on what you've written. It helps you to pick up on all the little mistakes you've made. It gives you the chance to improve the flow of everything you've written. So when you're reading something in your head on the screen versus how it sounds when you're reading it out loud, there's a major difference. So every time you write something and you're not sure how it sounds like, read it out loud to yourself. Once you're done reading and proofing everything, ask yourself, is this how I talk in real life? Am I conversing with them or am I talking at them? Why do they need to know this? Do I sound confident and reassuring? Am I addressing their pain points and overcoming doubts? What emotions am I evoking? Am I staying true to my authentic self? Am I making a no-brainer for them to inquire or book with me? So this is a little checklist or cheat sheet that you can use for whenever you're writing. It's just a little reminder for yourself to stay on track and to stay focused on what you're writing. And that's it from me, lovely people. I so appreciate you showing up today and spending the last hour listening to little old awkward me ramble on. But I hope you walk away from today feeling empowered to tackle your copy and make it your own. Quiet or loud, introverted or extroverted, shine bright as your true self. You have every single right to be here. Never change or shrink yourself for anyone around you. Be proud of who you are. You've got this. That may just be my little self mantra, but I need to practice what I preach. Thanks so much, guys. See you later.